Namaste, yogis, and welcome. My name is Sean, and today I am very excited to be sharing with you this Yin Yoga flow where we'll be cultivating mindfulness together, which is something that I love to do. So, in order to do this, we will be placing attention onto our breath. So, as we breathe in, we're going to experience the breath coming in. As the breath pauses, we're going to know that the breath is paused. And then as we breathe out, we're going to know that the breath is coming out. And we're going to continue this awareness of the breath throughout the entire practice. So for today's practice as well, I personally will not be using any props, but if you do have them by your side and you wish to use them, then that is perfectly fine. And lastly, if you are new to the practice of Yin, then I welcome you. We do hold our poses for a longer period of time, anywhere between 3 to 5 minutes, and for today's practice, we will be observing 4-minute holds for a total time of 45 minutes. So to begin, I wish to invite you into our first pose, which will be caterpillar pose. So coming to our side, we're going to extend our legs outwards, and then just very gently, with full intention, we're going to fold forward, keeping the muscles disengaged. Yin is not a practice of forcing, but just rather observing, placing the body into its shape, and then just relaxing, calming ourselves, bringing attention to our breath now. So as we breathe in, we feel the entirety of the in-breath. And as we breathe out, we feel the entirety of the out-breath. And we're going to continue observing this breath. This beautiful breath coming in, coming out. Deep breath in Long breath out. Very gently, we're going to come into a seated spinal twist. So, taking your right leg, placing it over the top of your left knee, then taking your right arm, pressing it against your right knee, and then with your left shoulder, just turning over to your left and looking behind. And then once finding your shape, committing to stillness, and then bringing our attention, our awareness, back to the breath. As we breathe in, we breathe in joy. As we breathe out, we breathe out joy. Following the breath, cultivating our mindfulness, establishing our mindfulness in each and every moment. And as we continue to follow the breath, observe the breath, cultivate our mindfulness, our minds become more and more still, more present, more alive. And it's with this stillness that we begin to uncover or even discover our true selves, our true values, and it gives us the strength to live in line with these values and to walk the path that has been destined for each and every one of us. Mindful breath in, mindful breath out. Slowly releasing ourselves. We're going to shift to the other side now. So our right leg is going to come down onto the mat. Left knee is going to come over the top. Twisting ourselves to the right hand side, and then once again feeling into that spinal twist, closing down the eyes, holding the shape, and returning to our breath, the beautiful breath, the calming breath. Beautiful thing about the breath is that it is always with us. From the moment we are born, it is with us. Throughout every moment of our life, it is with us. And to our very last breath, before we part this planet, it is with us. And thus it is a beautiful tool, a beautiful way in order to cultivate mindfulness, simply just by following the breath. Deep breath in and a long breath out. Gently releasing ourselves. And we're going to come into a frog pose. So, very mindfully and with full intention, going to come onto all fours. We're going to extend our knees outwards to where it feels right for you. And then just feeling in to that inner groin space. Finding your shape. Committing to your shape. And once we have found our space, we place our mindfulness on the breath. When practicing yin, it is very common for the mind to wander off, wandering off into the past, wandering off into the future. But the past, how we remember it, it's never truly how it happened. We always see it through our own perspective. We forget little details, and it's never truly how it actually happened. As for the future has yet to even come, has yet to even been lived. And most importantly, the future can only be made in the here and the now. And so we bring our awareness to this present moment, and we use our breath as a tool to embrace this moment, to be alive in the here and the now. Following the breath, cultivating our mindfulness. With full awareness, we're going to come onto our backs, we're going to place our left knee, or bend our left knee I should say, placing the left foot on top of our right knee. And we're going to come into a reclined figure 4. Placing the hands over the knee and pulling it to your chest. Once finding shape, returning our awareness, our mindfulness to the breath. Experiencing the in-breath, feeling the out-breath. Yin is a beautiful way to cultivate mindfulness. And then with this mindfulness, we integrate it into our daily lives. We integrate mindfulness when we're at work, when we're socializing with friends, or even at home, just resting. Cultivate this mindfulness in each and every moment as best as we can. And as we live with this practice of mindfulness, we begin to experience the miracle of life in each and every moment. Because the miracle of life can only ever be experienced in the here and the now. It can't be experienced in the past or the future. It can't be experienced if we're being forgetful, unmindful. this miracle of life can only ever be experienced, can only ever be touched when we are being mindful and present in this very moment. Releasing the knee very slowly, placing it onto the mat. We're going to come to the other side now. So, right knee bending, right foot on top of left knee, and then bringing the left knee towards our chest. Pulling the left knee into the position where it feels best for us. Always listening to your body. The innate wisdom of your body knows best. Never to force, but just allow and observe. And as we cultivate our mindfulness with the breath, there are ways to support ourselves with this cultivation as well. By applying this mindfulness to our speech, to our actions, and to our thoughts. We purify our minds with mindfulness. We refrain from speaking harshly about others. We refrain from doing actions that may harm others, including animals. And when we have negative thoughts arising within our minds, we observe that this thought has arisen, and we accept it, we experience it, and we wish it well. And slowly and surely, with mindfulness, purify our minds, and as our minds become more and more pure, it becomes easier and easier to become more and more mindful, and then the process feeds on itself. As we are more mindful, we purify our minds, and as our minds are more pure, we become more mindful. Deep breath in and a long breath out. Gently releasing the body. And very mindfully, we're going to roll over onto our stomachs and enter into a child's pose. So, extending the arms outwards, softening the back, establishing our mindfulness on the breath. As I breathe in, I know that I am breathing in. As the breath pauses, I know that the breath has paused. As I breathe out, I know that I am breathing out. Cultivating our mindfulness. Allowing the mind to become more calm, more tranquil. Experiencing the miracle of the breath. In every single moment. Checking in to see if the mind has wandered. And if it has, simply accepting that the mind has wandered and bringing it back, bringing the awareness back to the breath, to the now. Strengthening our mindfulness, strengthening our awareness, with full intention. We're going to come into Sphinx, so placing our stomachs onto the mat, arms shoulder width apart, parallel, and then just arching up our backs very gently, very slowly. Closing down the eyes, finding our shape. Observing our breath. Yin yoga is a beautiful way to cultivate mindfulness, which supports our meditation as we hold our poses for 3, 4, or 5 minutes. To begin, it's far easier, far more simple to maintain our mindfulness for a shorter period of time before we then apply it for a longer period during our meditation. And then during our meditation, as we cultivate stillness and mindfulness, it then supports our yin yoga practice. And so the two complement each other beautifully. Very gently, we're going to sit up. And we're going to enter into a butterfly pose. So, soles of the feet coming together. And then just very gently leaning forward, placing our arms in front of us. I like to place my palms facing upwards to resist the urge of pulling myself forward. Then just relaxing, feeling into the breath. As we follow the breath, you may observe it becoming more and more beautiful, more refined, more subtle. This is part of the process of when we follow the breath.
And if we continue to follow it, especially during meditation, the breath can become so refined that we can no longer tell if it's an in-breath or an out-breath. It simply just becomes breath. And if we continue to follow just the breath, it becomes more and more beautiful, more radiant, where it reaches another point where the breath has become so refined that it actually disappears. The breath disappears and it feels like you've stopped breathing. And at this stage we are observing the mind in its purity, the mind without its body. And it's very radiant, very beautiful. And the best part is that this exists in each and every one of us. We just have to follow the breath. Slowly, gently, mindfully, sitting up, and we're going to enter into ankle pose. So, coming on to our knees and sitting up. Some people prefer to grab onto their knees. I personally prefer to put my hands behind me and then just leaning back and feeling the stretch in your ankles. Observing the breath. Finding stillness. Deep breath in. Long breath out. Very mindfully and with full intention, we're going to slowly sit up and enter into our final pose, which will be Shavasana. So, lying onto our backs, feeling into our breath. Doubling up on our mindfulness. It's very important for each and every one of us to practice mindfulness as much as possible. Because when we are mindful, we become far more aware of how our speech, our thoughts, and our actions not only affect ourselves, but also others as well. And as we cultivate this mindfulness individually, when we take on this responsibility to do it for ourselves, we also inspire those around us to cultivate mindfulness for themselves as well. And so collectively, we cultivate mindfulness together. And it's with this collective mindfulness that we can make true shift, true change for the better of the world, for the better of the environment, for the animals, and for humanity. It all starts with ourselves cultivating mindfulness. Very mindfully, we're going to roll to our sides. And then just when you're ready, coming up into a seated position. And I wish to invite you to join me in closing off the session with the chant of Om. So, only if you wish, placing your hands together,
closing down the eyes, taking a breath in, and a breath out, and a breath in for Om. Raising your hands, only if you wish, to the third eye space, and repeating after me. Hopes and dreams. Lowering the hands to the lips. Truth and honesty. Placing the hands in front of the heart space. Love and compassion. From my heart to yours. Namaste. And thank you so much for joining me in on today's Yin Yoga Flow. It really was beautiful for me to be able to cultivate mindfulness with yourself. Let me know in the comments below as well of what you thought about today's practice. I would love to hear your thoughts. And if you haven't already, please feel free to subscribe to the channel. It really does mean a lot to me to have your support. I do also have plenty more Yin Yoga content coming out that I would love to share with you. I wish you a beautiful day and namaste.